Well, good morning. It is Tuesday, August 26th. The year is moving right along. Welcome to Before the Noise. Thank you for sharing these moments with me. I want to continue in John chapter 4, and I want to you catch the scene of what is happening here. Jesus has encountered this Samaritan woman at Jacob's well, something that was unheard of. He's just encountered her, exposed a lot of truth to her, and something amazing is happening. It says in chapter 4, verse 27 of John, it says, "Then when his disciples returned, they were surprised to find him talking with a woman, but no one asked, 'What do you want?' or 'Why are you talking with her?' Then, leaving her water jar, the woman went back to the town and said to the people, 'Come see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah?' And they came out of the town and made their way towards him. Meanwhile, his disciples urged him, 'Rabbi, eat something.' And he said to them, 'I have food to eat that you know nothing of.' Then his disciples said to each other, 'Could someone have brought him food?' 'My food,' said Jesus, 'is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Don't you have a saying, it's still 4 months until harvest? I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. Even now, the one who reaps draws a wage and harvests a crop for eternal life, so that the sower and the reaper may be glad together. Thus the saying, one sows and another reaps, is true. I sent you to reap what you have not worked for. Others have done the hard work, and you have reaped the benefits of the labor.'" And I just have to imagine that the disciples rolled their eyes and thought Jesus is saying something else we don't quite understand. I want you to imagine this scene. Jesus has just had this life-changing conversation with the Samaritan woman at the well. He's crossed a cultural line, he's broken social barriers, and he's spoken directly into her deepest need. Now, right at this moment, as it concludes, as his disciples return, they had gone into town to grab supplies. They didn't quite get it. They're confused. They're thinking about lunch, but Jesus is thinking about a harvest of souls. Now, this passage is a reminder that while we often live with our eyes on the temporary, like what we'll eat, where we're going to go, what's the next thing on our to-do list, Jesus is always calling us to see the eternal. I want you to see, first of all, the disciples' confusion. The disciples come back. They're astonished that Jesus is talking to this Samaritan woman. And the reason why is because in their minds, she doesn't fit the box of a worthy candidate for God's attention. But here's the beauty. Jesus is showing us that God's kingdom isn't bound by human categories of worthiness. Meanwhile, the woman leaves her jar that she had gone to collect water with, her original reason for coming, and she runs into town and says, "Come see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ?" Her life is so disrupted by grace that she abandons her water jar, her priorities, to carry living waters to other people. And here's the lesson. When Jesus truly touches your life, you start leaving behind the lesser things, the lesser jars, and you run to share him with others. Secondly, I want you to see the food of Jesus. The disciples urge Jesus, "Rabbi, eat." And he responds, "I have food to eat that you do not know about." And they're confused. They're thinking somebody snuck him a sandwich. But Jesus clarifies, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to accomplish his work." Jesus is teaching us that true satisfaction isn't found in the temporary. It's found in obedience. Doing the will of God fills you in ways that no earthly meal, no possession, no achievement ever can. The third thing I want you to see from this is the vision of the harvest. Jesus shifts the conversation. "Do you not say there are yet 4 months, then comes the harvest? Look, I tell you to lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest." The disciples are thinking in agricultural timelines, but Jesus is speaking about souls. Right there in Samaria, an unlikely place, as the woman is rallying her whole town, Jesus is saying the harvest is now. People are ready. Don't wait. Open your eyes. And then he adds, "Already the one who reaps is receiving the wages and gathering fruit for eternal life." The principle of that, kingdom work is urgent work. The opportunities to love, to share, to encourage, to point people to Christ, they're right in front of you today and every day. The final thing, the fourth thing is I want you to see a practical encouragement for today. So how do we take this truth and make our day more positive, more grounded in God's perspective? Here's a couple of things you can do. First of all, be like the woman and leave the jar. Ask yourself, what's my water jar today? What's the thing I'm clinging to for satisfaction that I could leave behind today and run with the good news and with the truth instead? Maybe it's worry. Maybe it's the endless pursuit of productivity. Maybe it's bitterness and unforgiveness. Today, you can choose to set that down. Another thing, I want you to feed on obedience. So instead of asking, what do I need to do to get through today? Ask, what's God's will for me today? Ask that question of yourself. Even one act of obedience, encouraging someone at work or forgiving someone or praying for your friend or your spouse, can nourish your soul a whole lot more than temporary distraction. Next, I want you to lift your eyes. When your life feels heavy, and I know it does, we tend to look down, we navel gaze, we study our phones, our problems, our to-do list. Jesus says, lift your eyes. I want you today to physically lift your eyes. Look who's around you. Look who's hurting near you. Who's searching? Who might be more open to hope than you realize? The harvest is already ripe. You just have to lift your eyes to see it. The next thing, I want you to sow and reap with joy. Sometimes you're going to be the one sowing, which means sharing truth, planting encouragement, putting those seeds of truth in them, praying for someone who doesn't yet believe. Other times you're going to be the one that reaps. You're going to see someone take a step towards Christ. Either way, Jesus says the reward is eternal. Be faithful where you are. So folks, today you have a choice. Are you going to live like the disciples, distracted by the next meal, the next task, the next routine? Or will you live like Jesus, seeing the harvest, feeding on obedience, and running into the fields God has placed around you? See, your life becomes more positive, not because of your circumstances that suddenly get easier. They never get easier. It becomes that way because your perspective shifts. You realize that every encounter, every interruption, every ordinary moment is actually a chance to participate in the eternal work from God. So lift your eyes. The fields are white. The harvest is ready, and God has chosen you, yes, you, to step into it. This is not just another story tucked into John's gospel. This is your story. This is your calling. Jesus says, lift up your eyes. Don't shuffle through today with your head down, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the right time. The harvest is now. Whatever that harvest may be, the opportunities are now. The people who need hope are now. The disciples thought the harvest was months away, but Jesus was saying, look around. What you're asking for is happening right now in front of you. Folks, you don't need to wait until you're more spiritual or more qualified or more put together. You don't need to wait until the perfect conditions line up. You don't need to wait until your schedule clears or until life finally slows down. God is already at work, and he's inviting you to step into it. So lift your eyes, see your family as your harvest, see your workplace as your harvest, see your friendships, your neighborhood, your conversations, all ripe fields waiting for someone with courage to step into it. And hear this, your joy isn't tied to what the world offers. It's not. Your joy is tied to obedience. Your nourishment will come from doing the will of the Father. That means every yes to God, every seed sown in faith, every act of kindness, every prayer whispered, it will fill you with a satisfaction that the world simply can't give, and the world can't take it away. So leave the jar, feed on obedience, lift up your eyes, sow and reap with joy. Because the King of Kings is already working the fields, and he has chosen you, not later, not someday, today. The harvest is ready, the time is now, and your life can be part of eternity's story if you dare to say, yes, Lord, send me. Thank you for spending a few sacred minutes with me today before the noise. My prayer is that you walk into this harvest, into whatever comes next, not empty, but filled, not rushed, but rooted, and not reactive, but renewed. So, take a deep breath. God is already ahead of you. I will see you tomorrow, same place, same peace, before the noise. I love y'all. God bless.